who actually have the buying capacity. That's the primary essence why we are in this training today. So we are trying to figure out people who have buying capacity so we can actually directly target and serve them our ads so and generate the lead, follow up, and eventually convert them. I've always said that it makes no sense to continue talking to someone who has no buying capacity. What do I mean? They have interests, but they just cannot afford your product. So you are actually going to spend lots of time, hours, and resources trying to convince someone who only has interest but no buying capacity. Take, for instance, your lowest property is 7 million naira, and you are talking to someone whose highest savings is actually 500,000. There is no magic that will happen there. There is no magic that will happen. You will keep talking, talking, and talking, and he will keep telling you, I have interest, I'll get back to you. I like the property, I'll get back to you. So, two things are involved. Interest means absolutely nothing when there is no buying capacity. In that regard, you have no business talking to someone with just interest. So, we narrowed down from the five categories of people who buy properties at the moment in Nigeria. So, we decided to narrow it down to three that are actively buying presently by virtue of this economy. All right, so it's obvious that there is a high, rather, there is a high inflation. There's a high inflation in the country, and the investors, people who used to buy, wait for like a year or two and then sell it off and put the money back in their businesses are affected. So there are one categories of property buyers who are no longer buying. All right, and then we also have a category called um, the future projectors. All right, those ones could buy the bush and wait for as long as possible. So reason is they were taking a portion from their business and put it in that particular property location, and then they were regarded to as the future projectors. But truth remains that future projectors at the moment are focusing on keeping their businesses afloat. All right, because most of them are highly affected by the inflation in the country. And then we are left with three categories, which are the wealth preservers, all right, and then we also have the Nigerians in diaspora, while we also have the creative industry income earners. Now, if you had been in my strategy session, you would remember that I listed some things about the strategy for the creative industry income earners. All right, they are a category of people who actually have the money but do not want to buy property. All right, so this category of people, you cannot sell property to them. All right, you can only sell their state of mind. They don't buy property, they buy feelings. All right, they buy how they feel emotionally. All right, so you have to be able to capture them at their emotional state. All right, they have to be emotionally excited about your offer for them to buy from you. All right, so by and out, what am I trying to say in essence? What I'm trying to say is that you have to understand how to stay at the same thought frequency with the creative industries income earners. All right, this is why data remains a king when it comes to marketing and sales. Acquisition of data, analyzation of data, and then finalizing on how you can segment these categories of people, because you cannot actually talk to a Nigerian in diaspora the same way you are actually going to talk to the wealth preservers, not the same way you are also going to be talking to the creative industry income earners. Now, before we delve into the practical implementation to this, if you take your mind back, you will remember that a way back, there is a particular property that was launched and it was called TWA Gardens. How many of us were aware of TWA Gardens? All right, we heard of TWA Gardens, right? Mr. Tiba, you heard of TWA Gardens, right? Mr. Febu.
Um, Not quite.
All right. I think TWA Gardens was created, well, I mean, it's an estate by Silos Properties. Yeah, so now this is it. If you check closely, the strategy was very superb. Reason is that if you had paid attention to the name Tiwa, you will know that there is a popular Nigerian celebrity that is attached to that name. So I think upon their research, they realized that Tiwa has not been trademarked and they could use it, and it became a name that they decided to give that particular estate. And I'm very sure they also understood the categories of target, one of them being the creative industry income earners, otherwise referred to as the Gen Z. All right, so this category of people will not buy properties because you want them to buy properties. They will buy because of how they feel, as explained earlier. Now, this is it. When they named the property Tiwa Gardens, the next thing they did was to sign a particular ambassador, all right, in the person of AY, Ayo Maku, Abimagu. AY. All right, so they signed AY, and you know that AY is in the creative industry. All right, as a comedian, he has a super influence over the younger skit makers and the generation Z who loves to mingle with celebrities. And then the simple message was, I've got my plot. Wouldn't you want to share an estate living closer to me while we have an entertainment hub of Lagos in the estate, have fun, and then create a leisure center here? It was short and simple, but it created a deeper impact. Now, the first impression is, Omo, if I get this property, I will be living close to AY. All right, so basically, virtually all the creative industry practitioners, the younger generation, will tell you that they call AY Bros AY, meaning that they respect him a whole lot. Now, he has a higher influence over them. So the company needed to think in line the way they also think. Now, nobody was going out to sell a property to them. So they sold a brand, AY, to them. And then AY then sold a space in his life to them. Let's share a space in the same estate. Let's live together alongside other celebrities so that we can create an entertainment hub in this particular estate and have a leisure time together in the leisure center that will be built inside this estate. Now, it struck a deeper chord. All right, one of the things that did in their system was that, man, if I tell someone I'm living in the same estate with AY, I will be perceived as a big boy. All right. So basically, their mind shifted from buy land to buy brand. All right. So they were not buying into the property, they were buying into who recommended the property, the message that how it made them feel, all right, and how that was conveyed. The thoughts of living close to someone they respect and they see as a top industry player, one of the big dogs in the industry, so to say, living next to them. So basically, what am I trying to say? They don't buy properties, they buy state of mind. That is for the generation Z. Right? So whatever strategy you are going to come up with when selling your properties, you need to understand that this particular category will not buy property because you sell property to them. They will buy because you sell the state of mind to them. It's actually why the moment they make a little money, the first thing they do is to leave the mainland. They want to go to the island, most importantly, Lekki. All right. Now, it's not because where they lived, they had any limited access. The reason is that they have a particular configured mindset that people who live on the mainland are lower class. So now they feel that they've touched funds, they want to get categorized. So basically, you have to be able to classify them to sell to them. So the wealth preservers, being another category of buyers, are some of the top people who have made money. These are not people whom you are going to be struggling when it comes to buying capacity. There is a buying capacity, but you are going to have a struggle. All right. Do you qualify to sell to them? That's the struggle you are going to have. They don't buy from just anybody. All right. So they have a category of people they buy from. Now you have to be able to qualify yourself in that category. So they want to buy within their social class. So they do business with people within their social class. That is why in my session that I talked about digital positioning, I took my time to explain how digital positioning works. All right. Now, digital positioning is simple. You simply have to understand that you can position online and you can actually position offline. So the online is the digital. So your brand perception is how the positioning you've made give to the people whom you think need what you have, who are actively seeking what you have. All right, so you have to be able to stay at a place where you can be discovered. All right, so when um a wealth preserver is looking for someone whom he can preserve his wealth with, a company whom he can preserve his wealth with. Basically, the inflation is coming. They don't want to leave their funds in the bank. They want to buy into an easily liquidated asset. And then you know that property falls into the category of easily liquidated assets. When they meet you, they want to first of all be able to trust your judgment. All right. The first thing they want to see you as is not someone who sells land. They want to see you as someone who doubles as an investment advisor. All right. While they also see you as someone who has deep money sense. All right. Basically, they don't want someone they can lecture. They want someone who can guide them. So now when you get there, you have to also appear like one who is qualified to be in their social class. This is why most people register in clubs like a Koi club, like a Co club, like Lagos Country clubs, and many other clubs. And then this is equally why people try to live in a particular environment, in a particular estate. All right, there are people who strategically rent an apartment in a particular estate, not because they could afford it at the time, but because they knew whom they were targeting. They needed to have some level of access. It's also the reason why people buy some certain tickets when flying. Excuse me, this is actually the offline positioning. All right, it's the reason people buy some certain tickets. You see people buying first class, people buying business class. Now the reason is not that they are so much in money. Now some of them are upcoming business owners, all right, but they are trying to access some category of persons. Now they need to go beyond digital prospecting. All right, and then they need to also try to meet these people where they are. So first of all, you have to understand the category of people you are selling to. All right, once you have been able to segment who you are selling to, first of all, you will be able to meet them where they are. All right, so now we have the last category being the Nigerians in diaspora. Now, everyone understands at the moment that Nigerians in diaspora are the hottest in the industry. All right, when we say hottest in the industry, it's not because they are the finest. So it's simple. Exchange rates highly favors them. At the moment, they are highly favored by the exchange rate in the country, so they take advantage of it. If someone sends in $10,000 down to the country, now you understand that he has sent almost 20 million naira into the country. So by and out, it's easy for that individual to buy into a property of 15 to 20 million, all right, when he's been convinced that what you're offering him is right. All right, so one of the things you will face as a challenge selling to Nigerians in diaspora is suspicion. All right, so they are highly suspicious. So, first of all, you have to take advantage of digital trust building. All right. So in one of our sessions, we are going to be there is a module that talks about digital trust, how to build an effective digital trust. All right. So in that module, I'll take you through the process of how you can build a trust image that when you are targeting Nigerians in diaspora, they will not see you as a suspect. The reason is that your brand speaks volume, all right? And most of the times, they discover you even before you go to them. Because even according to Google, it says that 99% of those who discovered you through that through that search engine rather, would believe whatever they find on Google better than whatever you are going to tell them directly. What do I mean? So now Google is a search engine platform. People go there to look for information. For instance, if someone is looking for the best location in Lagos to buy a property, all right, the best location to buy a property in Lagos State. If someone keys in such query on search engine like Google, and then the first three visible option that showed up as a result to the person has your contents, all right, and your content led them through the effective analysis of different locations, and then you make eventual recommendation. All right, at the point where you make the recommendation after you've done a lot of analysis with the right industry metrics, because I will say this often and often again, you are not a motivational speaker when selling properties. Don't sound like a motivational speaker. Talk with data. Property has metrics. Be sure that you analyze the property metrics with available data. Up to date data of the property. Don't tell anyone you should like this. I can't lie to you. You have to trust me. No. Why should I trust you? You have to give reasons why you should be trusted. All right. There are so many reasons why you should be trusted. All right. Once you start analyzing the data, you would gain the trust. You don't need to tell them to trust you. They will trust you by themselves when you've given them the reason to do so. All right. So now we are getting into the practical implementation of how to sell properties to Nigerians in diaspora today. All right, this is why for for you that we are going to be others that are still here to join us. So for those that are going to go through with us in the next 3 months implementation boot camp that you paid for. Now this is what will happen. Every month we are going to be sure that we implement effectively and give you access to monitor the conversion rates, and then we come back, connect and analyze the effectiveness of what you've done, adjust strategy and then re-implement it. All right, are we good? Because we are getting into the practical session now. Are we good?